Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the ATK Ghost Ultimate. This will sound out to me, but it'll not change my thoughts or opinions on the review. So let's get into it. So first of all, you have a box. The box is a sleeve, and inside the box you have a carrying case for the mouse. I love to see carrying cases. The thing is with this carrying case, it is held together by a magnet. So if it gets shake in your bag or whatever, it is going to open. It should be closed by a latch, but whatever. And in the box, you'll get a black braided Type-C cable, grips, and some dot skates. In terms of the specs of the mouse, this does have a paw 3950 Ultra, a Nordic 54 L15 MCU. This does support up to 8,000 hertz polling. This does have a weight of 48 plus 3 grams and a 300 milliamp hour battery. The extreme version, the main differences are it has a different, better MCU, and the click latency is like 0.02 or less difference. I wouldn't recommend going for the extreme for an extra $30 because it's literally just a slightly faster click latency with half the battery life. Like 0.02 milliseconds is never going to be noticeable. In terms of the clicks, let me just give you a sound test. So the clicks are ATK light blade mech switches. Also on the extreme, it does have opticals. That is one thing. But these are pretty solid switches. The thing is, they do have a little bit of pre-travel on the clicks, and the left click is a little bit kind of loose. This didn't affect me at all in game, both the pre-travel and the loose click, but it is there, so I just wanted to tell you. And then in terms of the scroll wheel and the side buttons, I had no issues with either. They're good positioning, they're good scroll wheel and side buttons. But let's get into the shape. So this is pretty much a Viper V3 Pro scaled down, like a Viper V3 Pro Mini. It's a pretty solid shape for relaxed claw, aggressive claw. You can definitely fingertip it. My hands are 19 by 9, and this is a solid size for my hand. I do prefer, though, the Eweadn Z7 shape because it's like a Viper Mini. It just fits my hand like a glove, where this isn't the perfect shape. It's a little long for my hand, but I do think it is a solid shape. And I want to just compare with the ATK A9 Air to show this isn't a large mouse, but it's also not a small mouse. It's very, I would say, medium. It's great for someone who a large mouse is too big, but a small mouse is too small. It's just kind of in the middle there. I think the shape is pretty solid. The sides don't go in too much, but they do go in a tad. Overall, just a solid shape. It's a little long, but pretty good. If you like the Viper V3 Pro, but it's too big, this is just a smaller version of that. In terms of the coating, so the Eweadn Z7 has this carbon fiber textured coating, and it feels super textured. I personally like it, but some don't. So then the ATK Ghost has a similar, like, also carbon fiber texture coating, but it definitely feels a bit more smooth. This is probably one of my favorite coatings on a mouse, if not my favorite coating, because it feels just a more improved version of this coating. It kind of, my hands get sweaty, and my hands don't get sweaty on either of these mice, and it just feels better on this mouse though because it's less textured, but I still have that more grip and less sweat. So if you're someone who has sweaty hands, this coating is going to be right for you. But if you're someone who doesn't have sweaty hands, you might not like this coating. It might not be grippy enough. You just might not be a fan of the texture, but there isn't a ton of texture compared to other carbon fiber mice. In terms of the overall QC, I didn't really have any problems with it. My mouse is a bit front heavy, like a lot of the other budget mouse I've been checking out lately, though it is not nearly as front heavy as something like the Eweadn Z7 or other mice, but there are no side flex issues. It's pretty good build quality. And in terms of the weight I mentioned before, it's 48 plus 3 grams. My scale is dead, so I couldn't verify, but it pretty much feels around the 48, 50 gram weight. I am using dots. In terms of these stock skates, so I did use the stock skates for a few days, and they were fine. Like, they were relatively fast. They were ice skates. I did also use the dot skates for like 2 days that came with the mouse, also pretty fine. You definitely will not need to buy third-party skates. If you do buy this mouse, you'll have a decent stock skate experience. In terms of the software, it's a pretty basic ATK software. It's a pretty and it's pretty good. There's no real issues with the ATK web software. I particularly like it, and there's just not much to talk about it. I'll show you a clip of it. In terms of performance in game, the performance is really solid. I actually had some of my best games ever on this mouse with this mouse pad. The tracking is phenomenal. The sensor implementation is phenomenal. There's just zero issues with this mouse in terms of performance. In terms of the price, this does come in at $90, not including shipping. And I think that is a very fair price for this mouse because it's a really high quality, good carbon fiber mouse, but a lot of the more expensive ones are generally lighter and have better weight balancing. Like WL mice are generally lighter, but they're also about $60 more. So if you don't care as much about the weight and just want something that's 50 grams and want to save 60 bucks, overall, I think this is a really good option. As I said, the clicks aren't perfect, but it didn't really bother me. And this mouse is just a really premium mouse for 90 bucks. And if weight doesn't bother you, if some holes don't bother you, then I can recommend this. It's solid, no issues. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll leave this link down below. Thank you for watching.